Okay, thanks. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in today, and thanks for taking the time. I'm Rodrigo, CEO of Agentic, and I'm super excited to reveal today what we've been working on for quite a bit of time. It's been a labor of love, and if you've tuned in before and you listened to the prior talks, this space is really heating up. This agentic commerce space, agents, how agents interact and pay each other, and it's very exciting. Truly, it's the beginning of a revolution we see, and we're super excited to be part of it. So let's dive right in. First of all, who's Agentic and why should you be listening to us today? So Agentic is the founding team behind the Graph. For those that aren't familiar, the Graph is an indexing and querying protocol for blockchain data. So we launched in 2018 and we launched a decentralized network in 2021. So we've been around for quite a bit of time, and we've seen a lot and learned a lot and been part of major technological revolutions, and we've been at the forefront of technology. And so yeah, right now we're experiencing the intersection of Web3, blockchain, crypto, and AI, and so we're very much at the forefront and seeing these revolutions, and so that's why we wanted to be part of this new revolution here. We're also the creators of House of Web3. That's where I am right now. This is a co-creation facility in the Presidio, as I said a moment ago, and we have 13,000 square feet. We are open for builders of all sorts in technology to come and work together in the space to interact, to meet and share ideas and work on hard problems. We're also the creators of Subgraphs, which is the core standards for querying blockchain data. Subgraphs became sort of the de facto standard, early when we launched, and developers today, when they're building applications on top of blockchain, know that subgraphs are the way to go in terms of getting the data you need from the blockchain for whatever application you're building. So this week, Andreessen Horowitz dropped their State of Crypto report for 2025. This is an annual report they do. It's an overview of kind of what's happening in the space, in the market, trends forthcoming. And there was something that stood out to me that Gartner estimates that by 2030, $30 trillion will be made or influenced by AI agents. I mean, that's a big number, okay? And 2030 is not that far away. I mean, it's 5 years away, right? And so that struck me as quite staggering. And I think it's very easy to underestimate the size of what we're dealing with here. And it's still early. And I think Marco said earlier that, like, this is like in 1994 saying, like if we could envision like TikTok or Instagram, you know what I mean? Like how much the world would have changed back then. And I feel like this is one of those critical moments. And so what happens when every person and every company has swarms of agents operating on their behalf? So today, there's it's so early. We're just getting started. And so people are experimenting with building agents, and we're doing use cases. But again, like it's difficult for us as humans to project out, and especially for exponential growth. We have a hard time with that. So we might think, okay, people are just like playing with these agents, and maybe it's not going to go anywhere, but we believe otherwise. Today, there's about 41 million mobile wallets, up 20% from last year. In my view, this hasn't been posted anywhere, but by 2030, we may have 1 billion agent wallets. right? If you think, okay, there's 41 million today, and that's still growing, and if each person has dozens, and each company has thousands of agents, and we're dealing with, millions and millions of agents interacting with each other all the time to handle this $30 trillion of commerce, the numbers will grow exponentially. We just don't know even how high they'll go. So it's very exciting, and we're excited to be here. So as part of laying the context, so agents are multiplying, payments aren't. I think we're finding that blockchain rails and crypto rails are really what is facilitating these agents to interact super fast and at super low payment amounts. Running through the Visa network or ACH or these old financial rails just aren't going to work. And I think that's why X402 and these standards that were put out this year are really taking off, because the time is right for these two new technologies to merge, AI and crypto and blockchain rails. It's like the perfect use case. So another problem is currently, given we're still early, there's no visibility into agent-to-agent spending, right? You have your wallet, and as you saw in the demos, the agent will interact for you, but then what did it do? You need to be able to see what happened, in terms of what they did, what they spent, controls. There's no controls currently, like budgets, alerts, policy controls. So you don't want to just give this agent, an unlimited bank account, or it's sort of like a teenager with a no-limit credit card, and they just go out and spend it. So similarly with an agent, you want to give it budgets and controls before it goes out and just spends wildly, right? And so you could say, think about it like limits, okay, agent, you can only spend $5 on this transaction, or don't spend more than $50 per day, or it really could be infinite in terms of the policies and budgets and everything you can do for agents. There's no provable records tied to outcomes, no way to identity verify agents. Marco mentioned discovery and identity as problems being worked on right now. And so this is the space that we're working in. So first, as we said, we're going to reveal a new product today, but I want to talk about the name first before we reveal it and give a little background context on it. So a name is the first story a product tells. It sets the tone for everything that follows. So we want to identify a unifying factor across all products, and for us, that systems start with a single symbol. As you know, our name is Edge and Node, and so the ampersand is something that stands out in our logo and in importance. So the ampersand is the most connective mark in the language. It doesn't end things, it links them together. It signals continuation, telling there's more to come, and that's the energy we want to put into our products. And every product and name should feel like an echo of the ampersand. It's a connector of worlds, systems, or people, and it's an amplifier of what comes next. And so I'm happy to announce today we are introducing ampersend. It's a payment management system for agent-to-agent economies. And this is our beautiful screen. So it's a wallet for agents and a dashboard for humans. So ampersend is a management platform for agent payments and operations. It enables creation of agent wallets that integrate with A2A and MCP. So our previous speakers gave some background into those technologies, and we'll have, after me, some demos on those. It allows for automation of authorizations, top-ups, and spend limits. So what I mentioned a couple of slides ago. It gives visibility through real-time dashboards of agent payment flows. And it gives control for enterprise compliance, reporting, and accounting. So agents transact in stablecoins over X402 while ampersand manages the life cycle of those funds. So to reiterate, you can manage spend, earnings, and automate flows all in one place. It's built on Coinbase X402, and we add observability and fleet control. And it allows for deferred payments, which is purpose-built for A2A and creating a new standard. I'm going to get a bit into the deferred payment thing in a few slides, so that'll be more clear shortly. So ampersand is fast. It allows for HTTP native stablecoin settlement via X402. Allows for multi-chain settlement and multi-stablecoin support, and sub-second settlement for microtransactions. It's verifiable, immutable transaction receipts, on-chain proofs for payment event, and allows for audit-ready exports. And it's observable. Dashboards with spend per agent, per seller, and over time. Allows for revenue tracking for sellers without a payment history. And it can supply alerts and analytics to monitor usage, budget, and growth. Also, it's automated, so it allows for on-custodial auto top-ups. You can replenish the agent balances from the main account, auto collection of vouchers, and automated payouts to sellers, minimizing manual reconciliation. After my talk, we'll be getting into one of our engineers will be giving a demo, and so all this will make more sense as you see it in action. So I want to have a little sidebar. I mentioned the deferred payment scheme, so I want to give a quick recap of our contribution to the X402 standard. So we caught on to this back in earlier in the year, like in March, April timeframe, and we could see that this was going to be a big thing, and we drew upon our work in the Graph protocol on micropayments. So in the Graph protocol, you have these queries that people are paying for in like very small dollar amounts. And because we were dealing in such high volumes in the Graph protocol, the team worked on a payment standard that batches payments up and then you settle periodically. And so from that work, we found that we could apply this to the X402 standard and utilize our learnings from that. And given that it's an open standard, open for contributions, that it's simply just submitting to the standards and it can get approved. So we met with Coinbase early and talked about our ideas, and Erik, who is the author of X402, loved it. In fact, it was on their roadmap already, so he was happy to have the contribution. And so that started the relationship with Coinbase and our involvement with contributing to standards, which we're very proud of. So X402 currently supports 1/10 of a cent payment transactions and 200 millisecond settlement. So there are cases where you might want to pay for something for less than 1/10 of a cent. Like, what happens then, right? And so in a future, as I spoke about earlier, where there's billions of agent wallets and they're interacting in like sub-microsecond, at machine speed, millions of times per second perhaps, you need ultra-fast payments. And settlement, the way X402 works, there's a settlement per each transaction. It doesn't make sense. And so enter the deferred payment scheme. So this is a little bit of a technical overview of how it works. I'll keep it very high level. But basically you have a client that requests, and I don't know if you guys can see like in the diagram, but effectively the client has a resource request, and then there's a settle per each transaction. So that's kind of the main thing to take away from this slide, is that you request a service and then you pay and settle, right? And so that happens very quickly, 200 milliseconds. But there are times when that may not fit. So let's go over the deferred scheme. And you can see the diagram is very similar. The only thing is that the server checks if there's a previous history with the client, and if there is, it sends a voucher. So a voucher is kind of like a set of IOUs, and so the client retries with the header, and so you aggregate a set of vouchers with a particular seller. And so eventually the server decides to settle the pending vouchers. That could be automated, could be manual, but imagine, you've got two agents interacting, and it's, doing like 1,000th of a cent or a 10,000th of a cent for a query, or for like calling a cloud API, or getting server resources, or and so it's happening, thousands of times a second, and so settling doesn't make sense because the amount of the transactions are so small that the gas fee for that might exceed the amount of transactions, so it doesn't make economic sense. So you just gang up all these IOUs, and then you could settle, say, after a day, or after a certain number of hours, or after a week. And so then you have a lot of these like micro cent transactions, and so that you pay the gas once when you settle the voucher. This is kind of an example of like in code for those of you that are more technical, and it just, it's designed to support these micropayments and enables payments smaller than the minimum feasible on-chain transaction cost. So for those that are more technically inclined, this QR code will take you to the repo in GitHub, where you can look at the technical details of it, and there's an ongoing discussion about modifications, so it is ongoing. And after a period of time and review, that we hope and expect that it will be contributed to the X402 spec, and yeah, we're really happy to have made that contribution. So back to ampersend. A2A and X402 each solve half the equation. So A2A, as Jordan spoke about before me, enables communication and tasks between agents. X402 enables the payment side. And so ampersend adds visibility, automation, and control to those payments. So together they form the full agent economy stack: communication, payments, and management with ampersend. Overview of how it works really quickly. So an agent onboard, so a wallet is created in ampersend. So it runs on the base chain. A2A and MCP SDKs connect agents to the ecosystem. Agents pay or receive funds via X402, and then ampersend visualizes the spend, revenue, and automation rules. So the result is seamless economic coordination between agents across ecosystems. So key differentiation in payment setup. Before ampersend, it's manual or per service using credit. With ampersend, it allows for automated with escrow and X402 using stablecoins. For visibility, it's fragmented before ampersend, and with ampersend, it allows for real-time monitoring dashboards. On the control side, there's basically no control, and with ampersend, it allows for spending limits and automation. Compliance, not really existent. With ampersend, it's enterprise ready, so for large institutions who have compliance needs as they enter into this agentic commerce world. And interoperability, this is a big one. going from closed systems to open systems. And that is part of our plans as well, is to be broadly compatible and interoperate with any new standards that arise. Here's kind of what's coming. So within ampersend, once the deferred payment scheme that I spoke about a minute ago, once that is included, you'll be able to manage that aspect within ampersend. So if you are doing like the top-ups or the voucher submissions or the settlement, you'll be able to do that within ampersend, or you could set it to be automated. So the dashboard view of all this. And eventually, we want to get into reputation management. So I don't know if you were listened to the talk earlier by Marco with ERC 8004. Reputation is something that is being solved for now. So if you think about these agents, it's just like a wallet address, and you don't know really who's behind the scenes. And so an agent needs to be able to like first discover like what agents are out there, but then are they trustworthy? So 8004 is attempting to solve for that in an open standard way. And so we envision that within ampersend, as a developer of agents, you'll be able to see kind of your reputation score, manage that. I think part of the standard for 8004 is maybe there's like feedback. We'll be able to see within ampersend like the number of transactions an agent has had a dollar or a volume spend. And so that will build a level of trust that this agent is legit and will do a good job for you. So you could think of it like maybe like a FICO score, for example. I think that might be something that could emerge out of this. Maybe like a trust score that comes with agents. So that's something that could be forthcoming. Identity management too. So as those standards get built out, maybe there's like an attestation, like this agent was created by, you know, X company, and I trust that company that they're legitimate and they will fulfill what they set out to do. So these are open problems and being solved right now. Again, it's still early. So, and we're right there in the discussions and contributing to these standards. So we plan to have ampersend be fully part of that and fully support all of these new standards. And then as more chains come onto the X402 standard, we plan to support those as well. So ampersend makes A2A economically intelligent. And ampersend, A2A, and X402 together form the foundation for a programmable agent economy with built-in payments, transparency, and automation. Again, we are super excited to announce this today. As I said, Pablo will be coming on to give a live demo of what we have with ampersend, and we'll be revealing more in the coming weeks at DevConnect, where we'll open it up. So there's an ask. We're looking for design partners. If you're building agents, reach out to me. We'd love to hear about your needs and build together. And subscribe to product updates and follow us on social media. So these QR codes go to the EdgeNode X account. Also, we've created an ampersend X account where we'll post updates there. And the site is live at ampersend.ai, and you can sign up for early access. So thank you again for your time, and really happy to be here and have all these amazing speakers with us. And we'll turn it over to Pablo to give a demo of ampersend. All right.
Thanks so much, Rodrigo. That was amazing. Cool. All right, so we're going to bring on Pablo now. First of all, let me grab Rodrigo off. There we go. And pull on Pablo. Pablo, thank you so much for joining. Really excited. Please, if Rodrigo, if you can stop sharing your screen as well. Let's see. Oh, is that your screen, Pablo? No, that's not, right?
No, but I'm about to share. There we go.
There you go. Awesome. Cool. So, everybody, this is Pablo. He's engineering manager at Edge and Node, working on research and protocol. And I'm really excited what you have to share today, Pablo. So, thanks so much for tuning in.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's
Oh,
okay. Is everything all right? Okay, yeah, cool. Thank you. So yeah, as Kevin said, I'm part of the research and protocol team at Agenode, but for the past few months, a team within Agenode has been working on this, and we're really excited to show what it's about. You've seen Rodrigo's presentation. So by this point, you probably know that ampersend is a wallet for agents and a dashboard for humans. So I'm going to show what it actually looks like. This is very, very early, and we will be getting this to production very, very soon so that you can try it out. Please sign up for early access if this sounds interesting. So I'm going to show what it actually looks like. So when you get into ampersend, it's a very typical sign-up flow or login flow using Privy. So there's no need for private keys or anything weird. And it should be a very simple interface for anyone to just come in and sign up. So once we've logged in, we get a dashboard, and this is the dashboard for humans part. But within ampersend, there are a bunch of accounts and wallets that our users would be using. So the main one is that I have a main account. I have some money, and this is where I'll have like my control center for all of my agents. And I have a single place where I can easily add funds. And in this case, it's connected to Coinbase on-ramp. So it means that I can very easily go from crypto to, from fiat to crypto. So this would be a way for me to be able to top up this account. And I can also, because it's a wallet and it's self-custodial, and I actually, as a user, own this money completely. There's no intermediaries there. I can also receive and send this USDC. So it's just like any other wallet with a few particularities. So here you can receive USDC from the outside, but because each agent will also have a wallet, I can just pull money from any of my agents here and just get that money back into my main account. So that's just a little example of how with ampersend you can very easily manage your flows of funds between this kind of central control account and any of your agents. And here I have instant visibility of what's going on. So my agents have been spending this. It's not a lot of money yet. And they've been spending in different places, right? These are the sellers, the servers or the service providers from which my agents have been purchasing. And right now, this is just addresses, but as Rodrigo said, we're working very closely with ERC 8004, and this will soon be integrated with 8004 and also with the Coinbase Bazaar so that we can show a lot more information about who are your agents interacting with. And also, because this is going to be built on top of Agentnode's next generation data tooling that we're building and that will run on the graph, this simple set of analytics is just the beginning. You're going to be able to see any information that you care about. And this is actually an area where those folks getting early access can give us super useful feedback. What kind of things would you like to see? Because with the data tooling that we have, having worked on the graph for so many years, the sky's the limit. And each of my agents here, they have their own accounts and they have a balance, as you can see, and they also have some daily limits and monthly limits in some cases. And I can see, for instance, that Igor here has a bit less than 10 cents. It has a wallet address because it's got its own account. And I can also see how much Igor in particular has spent over time and what he spent in. And there are a few things here that I can configure that are the automation part of ampersend, where we're actually going to see this in action in a few minutes, but I can configure automatically topping up my agents, and I can also configure daily, monthly, and per transaction limits, and also an allow list. So in this single page, I can manage anything that I might need to manage about this particular agent's spend. And very, very soon, we're also going to integrate the earnings aspect of this. So Igor here is an agent that might be purchasing things like storage from Pinata, or data from the graph or from other providers. And it might also be an agent that is actually providing a service. So we're going to have kind of the seller side of the dashboard here as well, so that you can not just configure automation for money going into Igor's account so that Igor can spend, but also like any money that Igor makes, because Igor provides a great service, then you can send that back to your main account and redistribute that across all of your other agents. So let's look at what it actually means to create an agent account, one of these wallets. So if I want to add a new agent, so I think we're at N now. I don't know if you saw, but I was naming my agents alphabetically. And I'm going to create an agent called Nick. I want to enable auto top up, and I'm enabling a daily limit of $1. So the way the auto top up works right now, it's quite simple. Obviously, it's going to get more configurable over time. But right now, if you configure auto top up, ampersend is going to ensure that every day Nick has exactly $1 to spend or more, right? If for some reason Nick made more money and it's over that daily limit, we're not going to take it away from them unless we configure that in the future. But for now, if Nick spent 50 cents and he has 50 cents left, we're going to pull 50 cents from our main account and send them all to Nick. And if you're thinking about, oh, well, how does this work? Is it actually self-custodial? Yes, it is. What's going on is Nick has a smart account. The main account is a smart account. And we have some interesting custom modules there for the smart accounts, where when you create the agent and when you configure the daily limits and the auto top up, we are enabling in that module a permissionless sort of trigger, like a keeper, where anyone can actually call once per day and just execute that specific action that is topping up your agent with that daily limit, right? But okay, for now, this is kind of thinking of you're creating this agent account and you're going to take this and put it into your favorite agent framework, like Google ADK, for instance. But and that's what I'm going to show as an example now. But we're going to add support for other major frameworks as well, of course. And the typical way you would do that is you copy this private key. I'm going to do that now for the demo that's coming. And in the future, we will also have something where you can maybe authenticate with a browser from a CLI and that kind of flow if it's more like for development. But for a production environment, you just want to take your secrets and configure them in like a cloud account or something like that. But I'm going to create this agent. And we're going to go back into like the same view that we had before, where we see the dashboard of what that particular agent is doing. Nick obviously hasn't spent anything, but oh wow, he already has $1. And this is because we configured that auto top up, and because we have these smart accounts going on, we can send that transfer now. Nick has the money he needs to operate over the next amount of time. So I'm going to actually use Nick. And so I'm going to first copy this wallet address. And this is a smart account that Nick will control. And I'm going to show the demo now here, where on the right, I have the Google ADK web view that will allow us to talk to an agent here in real time. And we have the ampersand dashboard on the left, right? So, but I want to go to the view about Nick. And I'm going to show this very simple agent. It's not really an agent. We're actually just talking to a remote agent, but we're sort of impersonating an agent that is talking over A2A to a remote agent that is X-Row2 enabled. And in this case, it's an agent that is able to query subgraphs and give me data coming from the blockchain. So it has an agent card. If you saw Jordan's talk, you know what an agent card is. It identifies the agent and it tells us what that agent can do. And it's got, from the ampersand SDK that we've just open sourced, this A2A authorizer. So with this, we are making our agent aware of these limits and budgets that we set in the dashboard. So our agent won't just blindly send money to whoever asks for it. It will check before making any purchase, am I authorized to do this? And for now, this is also quite simple. It's just yes, you are under your daily limit or your per transaction limit or whatever. Over time, that's going to be, a lot more powerful. You can think of anything, even like a smart agent managing managing those limits or the reasons to decline or accept the payment, right? And we are configuring, as I mentioned, the smart account wallet. So it's not just a private key. We actually also have a smart account that is controlled by this private key. And this means that on the one hand, we can rotate those keys. If for whatever reason, Nick's infrastructure, my agent's infrastructure gets compromised, I can just rotate the key and like I can keep using the same account with all of its history. But also, if I want to do more like granular access, we're soon going to enable session keys where the agent, for instance, is only able to do payments with X402, but for other keys, you might want to give more access, like being able to interact with DeFi protocols as well. So this is my very simple agent code, and this is what's running here. I'm actually going to make it run now. So this is how simple it is. So my agent address is this thing that I copied before, and that private key that I copied as well. And luckily, this is all fake money because I'm testing on testnet. And now I'm just going to run UV run with this example buyers code that I just showed. So now the server is running, and this is the web UI that I was showing before. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to reload to actually load it. And so we are in the A2A example. And I'm going to hide this. So now, because this is my blockchain data agent that I'm talking with and that I'm going to be paying. So Nick, in this case, is this interface that we're in, is going to be talking to that remote A2A agent that accepts X402 payments. And I'm going to very nicely ask what were the last two ENS registrations. So this is going to do all of the X402 flow behind the scenes, communicating over to A2A. It's going to make the payments. And then the remote agent is going to look for that data with its own stock graph tooling, and it's going to tell us, okay, these are the last two ENS registration. Let's give it a few seconds because it might be doing a lot of things. It's actually an LLM running here that might be thinking and querying tools. So here they are. Okay, so these are the last two ENS registrations. And if you were seeing on the left, we actually have 1/10 of a cent that was spent here. We still don't have enough to show the spending per seller. Oh, there it is. The spending per seller address. This is that remote agent that we were talking with. And this is a 1/10 of a cent that we had spent today. So this is instant visibility and real-time tracking of what our agent is spending. And let's see the limits in action. If I say, actually, I don't want Nick to be able to spend more than 1/10 of a cent per day. So if I'm saving this will also configure the daily top up to this amount as well. But now if I say, okay, show me 2 more ENS registrations, it's just going to say, okay, payment is required because I'm over the limits. The limits are being applied, they're being respected, and our agent is aware of that. I can change this again and give it a bit more leeway, and it will be able to query and keep querying. So this is just simple examples of what you can do with ampersend. The idea is if you're building agents and if you're building hopefully a lot of agents, swarms of agents that you need to manage, each of them will have its own funding and limits and configurations, and ampersend is here to make it a lot easier. And it's also going to be there to support people who are building services for agents. So agent is one of the primitives here. The other is going to be a service where it's very close to what I just showed for an agent, but it's just something that instead of making payments, it just receives payments. So if you're running an MCP server or an API that is designed for agents and that will accept payments over X402, then ampersend is the place to go to look at all of those things. So yeah, that's the demo. So yeah, please go to ampersend.ai, sign up, join the waitlist, and we'll get this to your hands very, very soon. Thank you.
That was amazing, Pablo. Thank you so much. You do such a good job at these demos. You always blow my mind, so thank you. Maybe we can like ask a few questions. I'm looking through the chat. I don't see anything there, but I'm wondering like maybe what you see is like the future of agents in the next like year. Like, where do you think we're going to see things evolve? Especially like for like the developer tooling. Like obviously, ampersend is a really cool tool that people will be able to use. But where do you think that we'll see some changes or products coming out?
Yeah, I think what's happening now that is super interesting and that I hope will expand over the next few months is more people building actual services that agents can consume. Because right now it's like the foundations are there, and you know we have these open protocols, and now we have some tooling so that you can actually manage the spending. And agents are also getting better and better. Like the LLMs themselves are getting better at being more agentic. So I think we're kind of in this inflection point where we are going to start seeing the autonomous agents. Yeah, some folks think those might be further out. I'm maybe a bit more bullish that we're getting closer to a point where you can just, you know, put an agent in a server with some instructions and some tooling and just have the agent do whatever you need over time. But for that, we need the tools to be available, right? What are my agents going to use? And one example is this, like blockchain data. Others might be being able to purchase a plane ticket. And that's where tools like protocols like AP2 also make a lot of sense, right? So I think everything is converging, but the key thing that I'm excited to see is these new services for agents. People building, you know, instead of like the B2B, it's now the B2A, or well, actually A2A, right? And yeah, I think that's going to be super interesting, and I really can't wait to see the autonomous agents like running as these swarms or fleets and doing useful stuff.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, that sounds right. And I'm also wondering like what you think is going to be the next like really big use case for agents. Like some of the stuff that I think is quite interesting is like maybe agents being able to help with like, you know, people are obviously using it for like searching stuff on Google and like just getting like standard data, but using it to like do trading. Do you think like DeFi AI is like a thing, like DeFi, I don't know how they say it, but do you think that's going to be like the first mainstream adoption for crypto and AI, or do you think it's something else?
I think that's going to be one for sure. Like people are already building DeFi agents, and they were doing that before X402 was available. So I think now that that is happening, you know, there's new companies I think that are building tooling precisely for that kind of use case. And you know, some of that is data from things like the graph. Other are like more specific things like Cambrian or like Pinata giving you the storage. Like there's a lot of things that are already taking shape that I think will help that kind of use case. I think we will also see agents proliferating things like scientific research or just commerce, and you know the e-commerce is going to be transformed. And AP2 I think is another like big piece of that puzzle as well. So I think at this point it's very hard to predict exactly where they're going to be. My feeling is everywhere. Yeah, which ones come first, I'm not sure.
Awesome, cool. Well, thank you so much, Pablo, and thank you everyone for tuning in. So yeah, if you're out
Thank you.
there and you're building AI agents, please come let us know. We want to talk to you. We want to see what you're building, and we're excited for the future here. So